All right, the ideal gas equation is probably one of the most famous equations, or at least it's up there, maybe the top three most famous equations, because it gives you a lot of information. You can figure out either the pressure, the volume, the amount of moles, or temperature of a gas just by knowing the other um, variables of a gas. Okay, so P is pressure, and it's going to be in atmospheres. Okay, in this part, it's very important that you know what the units are. The units are very important because we have this R, which is a gas constant. Okay, and the gas constant, which you do not memorize, I'll give it to you on the test, but you'll end up memorizing it because you'll be doing so many of these, is 0.0821 liters times atmosphere divided by Kelvin times mole. So you have to make sure that everything is in these units that's in your ideal gas constant so that they can cancel out. Okay, so your pressure has to be in the atmosphere. So if I give you pressure in torr, you got to make sure you convert it to atmosphere by using those equalities that I gave you in the last slide. Okay, your volume is always in liters. Temperature, what's your temperature? Always in, that should not be anything new, is moles. I'm sorry, in Kelvin. And your moles are in moles. Okay, so what type of problems can I give you? What I'll give you is maybe I'll tell you something about the pressure, the volume, and the moles of a gas, and you'll have to find what T is. You basically just do a little bit of algebra on this. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing very complicated. Okay, so calculate the volume. So I'm giving you a volume of a mole, so that's 1 mole of an ideal gas at room temperature, 25 degrees Celsius, and at one atmosphere, which we kind of already talked about. Okay, so we have our equation, PV equals nRT. I also need a pressure here. Apparently they did not give me a pressure. So I'm sorry, they did give me a pressure, 1 atmosphere. Sorry about that. So my pressure is 1, so 1.00 atmospheres. My volume is what I'm looking for. My moles is 1 point, let's just keep everything with the same number of sig figs. My R is 0.0821, and my temperature is 25, but remember I got to convert it to Kelvin, so it's 298. Okay, remember this number comes from the previous slide right there. Okay, so I solve for V. V equals 1 times 0.0821 times 298, all divided by 1.00. I just did the algebra on it. So let me do this calculation real quick on the calculator. So basically 1 times 0.0821 times 298 divided by 1 gives me, let's do 3 sig figs, the volume equals 24.5, this is volume liters. Okay? So that's basically how you do this. You're given a pressure, you're given a volume, you're given a moles, given a temperature. One of them you're not going to be given, and you just basically solve for it. But you got to make sure that your units are the correct units. Okay? And that's basically the ideal gas law. So there you go. My number matches their number. Good. Okay? Here's some practice problems. Feel free to do these on your own. I'm not going to go through them right now. They're kind of good for you to do. Okay, so that's the ideal gas law. Very simple. It's not that tough. You just got to make sure you remember all of your algebra and putting all the variables on the right side. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to stop it right there so that you have just that video by itself.